guys, welcome to another Devotional with Adam. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm wearing my Kermit shirt. It's been a good day. So today let's start off by having some fun and getting back on track with our friend Noah. But the first question we have today is simple. Would you rather live in a RV or a houseboat? RV or houseboat? Second question, would you rather have a unicorn horn or a squirrel's tail? Unicorn horn, squirrel's tail. And finally, would you rather sweat melted cheese or when you smell like a skunk when you sweat? So, sweat when you sweat. These are either your options are have it be melted cheese or smell like skunk. 3 questions. A little bit weirder than normal, but let's have some fun anyway. Get back to me. I want to know how you're doing. I want to know how school is, how you guys are, cold, flu, COVID, whatever. I want to know how you guys are doing, all right? And of course, Awana is all each and every Wednesday night, 6:15 to 8 o'clock, here at First Baptist Church in Lockport. Give us a call if you have any questions. We'd love to see you there, okay? Our memory verse for this week is from 1 Thessalonians 5:9, where it reads, "For God did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain salvation through our Lord Jesus Christ." 1 Thessalonians 5:9. For God did not appoint us to wrath, but to obtain salvation. Does that not explain Noah? God did not destroy the earth because he was bored, because he just didn't like Karen. No. He did it so that we could obtain salvation through him. And that's what God promised. God promised that through Noah's family that salvation would occur. And that's exactly what it did. But God, last time we left off, we saw that the flood had started. And rain came and flood waters filled the earth. But Noah and his family and the pairs of kinds of animals are all aboard. Safe. Secure in this ark, in this floating vessel, but also, more importantly, secure in God's hands. But for now, let's look at life aboard the ark. And just a fair warning, you might want to get your notepad out and keep track, because we're going to go through some dates and some times. Because one of the goals is to see how long Noah was floating in the ark. To start, so let's look at Genesis chapter 7 again, looking at verses 17 and 18. The floodwaters continued for 40 days on the earth. The water increased and lifted up the ark so that it rose above the earth. Then the water surged and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark floated on the surface of the water. So, we all know, when you hear Noah's Ark, you hear it rained 40 days and 40 nights. And it did. But I don't think we ever realized how much water that is, because this was raining 40 days. But later on, we'll see it also water sprung up from the earth too, coming at it both directions. That's a lot of water. That's a lot of water for 2 days. This is for 40 of them. And it was so much so that it covered the earth. All the earth. We're not just talking Lockport, for instance. No. This is Illinois, the United States, North America, the entirety of our globe covered in water. But it says that the waters surged even higher on the earth, and all the high mountains under the whole sky were covered. The mountains were covered as the water surged above them more than 20 feet. All right, Let's do some math. It rained so much over the entirety of the earth that yes, it covered it. And then some. Because it covered the entirety of the earth, so that it even covered the tallest mountain. How tall is the tallest mountain? If you're just looking at peaks, the tallest mountain is Mount Everest at 29,000 feet. But if you're measuring it, like laying it out, the tallest mountain then would be Mauna Kea, 33,000 feet. So let's just say 30,000 feet. The water on the earth was 30,000 feet high, plus an additional 20 extra feet. So we have a visual understanding. 30,000 feet would be 1,000 school buses stacked on top of each other, or 2,000 giraffes stacked on top of each other. If a giraffe is 15 feet and if a school bus is 30 feet. And then it covered. So that would just be covering the earth. Tallest peak covered. Done. But then it gave you the 20 extra feet. Why? Why 20 extra feet? So nothing will hit it. If the boat is floating, you don't want it scraping across the top of the mountain and, well, wrecking the boat. So Titanic's. This is a lot of water. And this is a lot of devastation that is happening on the earth because of the sin. But let me keep reading. Every creature perished, that those who crawl on the earth, birds, livestock, wildlife, that those who swarm on the earth, as well as all mankind, everything with the breath of spirit of life in its nostrils, everything on the dry land. He wiped out every living thing that was on the face of the earth, from mankind to livestock, to creatures who crawl on the earth, to birds of the sky, and they were wiped out. Only Noah was left, and those that were with him on the ark. Yeah, everything on the ark is safe. No one else is. So all the cows left in the pasture? No. All the snakes on the ground? All the humans still living at home? No. They all perished. They all died. But why birds? Why did the birds die? Birds can fly. Can't they just fly above the water? Yes. But eventually, everybody gets tired. You can insert your own bad joke here. But everybody arms get tired and they have to land somewhere. And since there is nowhere to land, birds do. So, but listen, now let's start looking at time-wise. Because verse 24 says, and the water surged on the earth for 150 days. 150 days. Let's talk math. As we can see, it says that the water surged for 150 days. Surged in here meaning was mighty, was overwhelming. And yeah, we've seen that already. It's over 30,000 feet deep from the land, let alone how deep it is in some of the places of our oceans. That's a lot of water. It's a powerful water. We understand that. So let's just say the flood started when God closed the doors of the ark January 1st. The door shut. This would be 150 days later on our calendar today. That would put it at May 29th. May 29th. That's 40 straight days of raining plus 150 days of water just dwelling and overwhelming, covering the earth that way. Okay? But it gets more. There's more to that. Water was covering the earth that long and being that aggressive and overwhelming for 150 days through May 29th. But chapter 8 verse 1 starts off with, but God remembered Noah, as well as all the wildlife and livestock that are with him on the ark. God remembered Noah. That's just such a wonderful statement. God remembered that God's love, God provided for Noah. He didn't just say like, he's on the ark. Yeah, he lives, he dies, he dies. No. God remembered him. God kept his promise to him. God loves him. And it's but verse 1, it continues is that God caused a wind to pass over the earth. God sent this wind. Why? Why would God send a wind? Wind is how he's going to start to dry up the earth, to restore it. Kind of like how we put us wet clothes from the washing machine to the dryer. The wind was going to start drying the earth out, removing the floods, take the sogginess out of the land. This wind shows God's faithfulness to Noah and to these people on the ark and these animals by showing that he remembers them, he kept keeping his promise, and that he loves them. But let's continue to see how the details of this. Remember, get your calendar and math out. Remember, it's 150 days so far. But in verse 2 of chapter 8, it continues. The sources of the watery depths and the floodgates of the sky were closed, and the rain from the sky stopped. The water steadily receded from the earth, and by the end of 150 days had decreased significantly. The ark came to rest on the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, on the mountain of Ararat. So, the water sources, rain, water from the earth itself, stopped, completely stopped. And aren't you glad that they were, if you were Noah, wouldn't you be glad? I mean, come on. Everything was closed, and it took 150 days for it to dry up decreased significantly. Not gone, decrease. Water got low enough where the vessel, the boat, could be run aground on the nearest piece of land. In this case, the mountain of Ararat, which is in Turkey today. But, like I said, this is 150 days more for it to hit this land. So if we're going from May 29th and then adding 150 days more, that would be October 26th on our calendar. October 26th. 300 days, guys. 300 days so far. Could you imagine what it's like being stuck on a boat for that long? Having nowhere to go besides this vessel? You think COVID lockdown was bad? Wait till you see flood lockdown. But either way, I joke. Look at verse 6. After 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark that he had made, and he sent out a raven. It went back and forth until the water dried up from the earth. Then he sent out a dove to see whether the water on the earth's surface had gone down, but the dove found no resting place for its foot. It returned to the ark because the water covered the face of the whole earth. He reached out and brought it back into the ark himself. So, after 40 days, Noah opened up the window. Remember, it stopped raining, so he could open the window, get some fresh air out the place, get some sunshine. But he sent out 2 birds to try to find land. The first was a raven. He sent out thinking that if the bird can spot any type of greenery, he would get it. But nothing, no. Then he sent out a dove. Same principle. Keep good luck. And eventually nothing. But looking back to our calendar, if we left on October 26th, this is 40 days after that. So 40 days after October 26th would be December 5th. December 5th. So we are in December. But let's continue. So Noah waited 7 more days and sent out the dove from the ark again. When the dove came to him that evening, there was a plucked olive leaf in its branch. So Noah knew that the water on the earth's surface had gone down. Hey, try number 3. Dove, attempt number 2, it came back with a branch. This is important because the water now is low enough where greenery is starting to pop back up. Sunshine is growth is happening. This is great news for Noah. He doesn't have to live in a boat forever. But it was a week later December 5th, he sent it 5 days after December 5th, 7 days after December 5th would be December 12th. All right, we're getting close to Christmas. But one more time, verse 12. After he waited another 7 days, he sent out the dove. It did not return again. So now this time the dove didn't even come back because it could live on its own. Food, habitats, everything it needed. But a week after December 12th would be December 19th. Now, here comes the great news. Look at verse 13 of chapter 8 of Genesis. In the 601st year, in the first month, on the first day of the month, the water that had covered the earth was dried up. Noah removed the ark's cover and saw that the surface of the ground was drying. By the 27th day of the second month, the earth was dry. Hey, great news! Noah could look outside and see grounds, land, no more water. Wonderful. If it were you, would you open up the door and just start running out right away? You shouldn't. Because, as we see here, it took Noah nearly 3 months, 2+ months to go outside. Don't believe me? Look. Because it took them 57 days to go outside while yes, they are seeing land. But 2, the land outside is super duper saturated. It's like a mud puddle and quicksand had a baby. There's no way any of the animals, an elephant would sink. So they waited 57 days, and we last left. This is December 19th, if we were going by our calendar, remember. 57 days later would be February 16th. That means they were in the ark from January 1st, let's just say 2020, through February 16th, 2021. Now that is a lockdown. But it was for a reason. And look at the reminder God gave them. God said, Noah, come out of the ark, you, your wife, your son's wife, with you. Bring all the livestock, the living creatures with you, the birds, the livestock, those that crawl on the earth. They will spread out over the earth, be fruitful, and multiply on the earth. Release the animals. Let them go back to doing animal things. They're going to be fine. Time to go back to normal. This is a fresh new start for Noah and his family and for the earth. This is time for them to go and restart everything, just as God told them that he would. God's wrath came, and it was devastating. We've seen well over a year of destruction on the earth. But out of God's promise and God's love for humanity, Noah and his family were saved. We are saved. God rescued Noah because he was a righteous man. But salvation was given to Noah. Not because Noah did anything special, but because of his belief in God. Just like it is for us. We can have the same type of salvation with our God today. I want to hear from you. Email me, text me, call me, whatever. I still want to hear from you. See you next time.